Welcome to a very special episode of Warfaster Revolution. My name is Sedg, and I'm taking you through my year in painting for 2024. This is going to be a quick, sharp video, I hope, and we'll try and get this thing down to a reasonable time so it's not painful to watch. January, didn't know that I was going to be cranking into Warmaster, so Orcs were on the way, tournament in April, and Orcs were on the cards. Imperial Fist Yellow is a great color. It takes to these paints so well, and happy with putting a lot of these in. We weren't sure if we were going to do Old World or War Master, and so I dug out some of my old Warhammer figures. You can see these ones I painted back in 2005. Got some streaking grant for Christmas, and then managed to get these on these ones, giving them a new lease of life, whilst also rebasing them. Back into the Orcs again, getting ready for this tournament in April. See here the Orc Boys, very simple paint scheme, but come up nice and clean on the table, and they look pretty good. Ball Riders are where it's at. You need to get them on the table ASAP. My tourney list only had two units, but that's fine. It worked out well for me. You can see here, one of my mates, Mouse, runs a podcast called Thoughtless Casual Gaming. It's Geelong gaming podcast where they talk about their Blood Bowl leagues, a number of board games and stuff like that, and they do some fantastic painting challenges on their podcast. So I recommend getting on there, getting in their Discord, and this was their Finish a Thing challenge, and so I wanted to get onto my Orcs and finish 2,000 points of core for my Orcs. So I love using the Squigs as goblins because they look really nice and crisp, and they come together really well. They make it so that you can just have these ones with the red, and the spikes are how I differentiate the units. Also found this dwarf fella here, Love Slayers from back in the day. So I thought about doing some dwarfs, printed a whole bunch, and then never went back to them. Spoiler alert for the whole year. Final unit of orcs here, along with a giant that managed to sneak onto my painting table when I wasn't looking. And this is my nice starter army for the orcs and goblins ready to go for the tournament. There is my final photo for my 2,000 points of core for the units. I need to paint some orc boys, but it is what it is. This fella snuck onto my painting table. My son helped me out with this one a little bit too, which was really cool, and happy with how it came up as a nice, quick, dirty paint job there. Squig Hoppers, as opposed to Wolf Goblin Riders, is another fantastic unit to get going if you get a chance to. Putting my mate Paulie up some winter woodies, and here they are for me. I will print him up some woodies, and then I decided I would try and do a winter woodies paint scheme. This is my first couple of test models here. The Tree Man, the Spell Singer there as well. Just trying quick and dirty wet blending, along with a bit of dry brushing at the end of it all. Trying to put no metals on these guys. I've been watching a lot of painting challenges on YouTube, and I decided I would try and push myself to do a 1K 1 day in May painting challenge. So this is the woodies that I sort of got up and running here, and this is me at 12:05 on our painting day. Now, our gaming group decides to get together on a regular basis and paint a whole bunch of miniatures all together. It's a really fun day if you don't get together with some of your gaming groups. I highly recommend it. I'll show you the group a little bit later in this video, but this is an hour into the painting day, wet blending all those colors together on all the tree dryads and the tree kin. Bit of a dry brush and painting up the bases there. 2 hours into the day, and at 5 p.m. I walk out of there with my army looking like so. Got some war dances done, got the tree kin and dryads all sort of sorted out there. Got home, and you can see the progress I made in the top right corner here for my Glade Guard as well. Then went home, got the kids in bed, and kept painting for the night. This is how I managed to finish up at 12:15 that night. Nice little army together. I then, was pumped, motivated, wanted to get some Warhawks done as well. So I painted these guys up the following night. And so after, a little over 24 hours, here's my starter army done for the woodies, and up to about 700 points painted there, maybe 800 if you include all the characters that we've got going there. The burnout was real after that, so 3 weeks later I got some Glade Riders sorted out. Worked out if I just use a couple of different blues, we're happy days there. And then here I was playing around with some Zenithal highlight stuff. Now I don't have an airbrush, but just with some spray cans from the local hardware shop. Played some greens and some greys and everything like that on these ones, and then contrast paints over the top, and this is how they came up. So really happy with how they came together. A little bit of scenery I made for our TTRPG club at the school I work at, the terrain challenge we were running there. This is now how my woodies are looking come the end of that May month there. So, you know, end of April, start of May, just got a character going. I think he was missing an arm, so I just smashed it together real quick. And at 10 mil miniatures, if they're missing an arm, sometimes it's all good. Played around with some wet blending. I've done a lot for the dryads earlier, so got this guy happening here. Wet blending and dry brush over the top, and that was a lot of fun to have happen. My D&D group had to fight that guy. Got the riders sorted out for these plague toads, and I just love those models. They came up great. My first Space Marine in 20 years in June for our school TTRPG club painting day. Happy with how he came up. I know I didn't pick out all the details, but for a miniature that'll probably never see the light of day, practicing some stripes and some, you know, dotted on bits there was a lot of fun. And here's our painting day in July with our D&D crew. To the bottom left there is H's lovely wife at dragon.dustings uh, on Instagram. We call her the paint dryer in our group because she can't help but paint without 17 different paints open. Although in this photo, for some reason, she's actually got them all closed. It's freaking me out a little bit, to be honest with you. H in the dead center, you recognize him from a lot of our videos so far and up and coming as well. My regular opponent. And then to the right is the best DM and absolute barbecue fanatic you'll ever see in your life. Top left is my daughter and wife doing a little bit of painting as well. What I managed to get done for the day, again, a little bit of old world stuff. Whilst I have only played 2 games of old world, still love the old Nurgle armies, and a little ghast for my D&D group to have to fight against in the future. Played with the oil washers and the streaking grime, and this is where things went horrible for me. Painted this guy up with some contrast paint, and when I got to wiping off the streaking grime, it just took so much of the paint off, it went terribly. Worked really well on this bit of terrain. You can still see a bit of the white that's come out of the picture to the right hand side there where I've wiped off the streaking grime, but the left is the wet blend, middle is with the streaking grime on the top, and to the right is it wiped off a bit. So a bit of the detail missing there, but easy to touch up and pretty good on a piece of terrain. Worked really well on these Middle Earth battle strategy game miniatures where we just painted them with some like automotive chrome colored spray paint, and then put on the streaking grime, wiped it off a couple hours later, and the detail on these things was fantastic. If I was looking to do a robot army or something, I would go crazy with these ones. Finally, August, we get back to some War Master and some Chaos. Happy with this first unit of Chaos Warriors. Wasn't happy with the basing though. So I pivot as I go on to do the Battle Standard Bearer and some characters here and go for a black grey with some snow work coming into it a bit later. Spawn model was fantastic. Stoked with how the eye came out on its shoulder there. Again, change the bases of these guys. The middle strip is actually still that brown colour, but unless you look at a top-down bird's eye view, you wouldn't actually notice it. Some Furies make the list as well. They came up all right, although I don't think they were finished in that picture. And then my Sorcerer here with picking out a bit of the smoke detail. I got a bit absorbed in the smoke there, but that's okay. Sometimes you just hit a zone and you enjoy it. Wet blending here, grey and green on the main bodies. It was just a quick, dirty paint job on the hounds, but they come together really quickly. And then the Despoiler Trolls from Despoiler Ogres from Forest Dragon. These files are incredible. The miniatures are amazing, and the contrast paint just pops off on them. Some Croxagore scales on there really stand out the scales. September, a couple of minis I painted for the school D&D group there, and then another painting day here at H and the paint dryer's house. Went crazy with these ones again. Now I know how to do all my wet blending stuff. Had a tournament coming up as well, trying to get these guys going for the tournament. I did get a little bit distracted this day with that dragon miniature you can see right here, and this thing is amazing. I loved painting this guy up. Whilst I did get 3 hours on him, picking out the details on him was so much fun, and the greens and blues with the whites just really look outstanding with these guys. Once the snow's on the bases, and you can see here another snow day here, just so happy with how this army came out. Some Wild Riders ready. I had a tournament coming up, and I decided, you know what, the Woodies have been fun to paint. I'll use them even though I suck at playing with them. And here we have got the display board that I decided to get together and make. I've never made one before. I've always wanted to, so I spent a lot of time getting this one together, probably a space of about a week, including, routing the wooden cavities for gluing the metal down to then sticking all the stuff on top. Looked a bit flat without the snow, so added the snow to add a little bit more detail. October sucked. work sometimes gets in the way. It is what it is. Moving on to November, just wanted something quick and easy for me to make happen. And the thing that was quick and easy for me to make happen was some more Chaos Warriors. So just pivoted back into Chaos, found some cool little demon beasts, some Nurgle files. Managed to get this big fella happening as well. Some Slanesh ones just because I love the purple Luxian purple contrast paint and just wanted to put that on some, and it came up real nice, so I was happy with that. And here's my Chaos Army starting to come together over the course of November. Storm Giant from Forest Dragons, Patreon from 2024. Brilliant files, and looks like it suits a Norse army. This is where I started to get the idea that maybe my Warriors of Chaos could also double down as a Norse army as well with the right files to go with. A Treeman Ancient here, just, in my Winter Woody scheme on a round base. And then my first unit of Marauders. I don't know why, but I just find it painful painting these things. Picking out the clothes and the skin, it just feels like a waste of my time. So I started pivoting into more of a demon style paint scheme on a lot of these things. Maybe I could use the Plague Bearers as Marauders in my Warriors of Chaos army, and that might make it just easier and less painful for me to actually paint them all up at once. Rebase this guy, sick model and fun to just rebase. And then we have some Plague Toads. You saw the big version earlier. I shrunk the files down just so they were 20 mil wide each, and then loaded them up on the bases, and they came up absolutely awesome. I've been using those as knights. And then these guys sort of got them done. Not happy with the Plague Bearers, but they're fine for sitting behind a unit as supports and pretending they're Marauders. Branch Wraith, these things are severely underrated for Wood Elves, and I never thought they were good until I started using them, and they're cheap, and they get the tree spirits moving along when we know the points are worth it. Here is a D&D model that I printed up. It's since fallen on the ground and exploded into about 75 different pieces, but this was a big vampire lord that my D&D group had to fight. You'll recognize them from earlier in the video. And now that I have the channel up and going, I decided, you know what, I needed to get my terrain looking a little bit better and a little bit more alive. So here are some hills and some forest bases you'll start seeing popping up in the videos in the future. Finally, I did a big snow day as I was snowing the other bits. I snowed these ones as well, so that was great to get some snow on these fellas and put them all together. And then my final miniature for 2024 was the Beholder here. So just tried a bit of grayscale and picking the details out with the red, and was so happy with how this one came together. My D&D group liked it too because they got some good XP and some good loot from killing this guy. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. I hope you really enjoyed it. I've been Sedg, and this has been War Faster Revolutions. Get in the comments and let me know what you thought of the video and if you'd like to see this kind of thing on a yearly basis. Thank you so much for choosing to spend some of your hobby time with me today. Take care.